David Cameron.
Will you put to bed rumours that you plan to cut child tax credit and restrict child benefit to 2 children?
I don't want to do that. If you believe, as I do, we should go on reforming welfare, making sure that work always pays, helping people back into work, and keeping working people's taxes down, that's my programme.
A woman has had a disabled daughter die and then receive a demand for bedroom tax for the spare room that disabled daughter has left behind. That is not a country I want to hand on to my child.
Ed Miliband will stand here in a few minutes' time. He is saying, go on with a budget deficit forever.
What was that?
Sorry, sir?
What was that?
Why don't you debate with him directly instead of pointing fingers at him
we
in
debate
his absence?
Why do you think voters don't trust your party with our NHS?
Oh, it's another...
When my disabled son was desperately ill, it was always there for me, and I will always make sure it is there for other families in our country.
Surely anybody with half a brain can see that the NHS isn't sustainable in its present form, just pouring more and more money into it.
Very dangerous in elections to disagree with people, but I don't agree with you, sir. I actually think...
Well, you're wrong.
Well, OK.
I should be there, I should be there.
All of these questions you're being asked have a moral dimension, and you keep answering them in terms of economics. I'd like you to engage a little bit more with the moral dimension that these questions are asking.
Okay. To me, helping someone to get a job has a moral dimension. It gives them the dignity and pride that comes with work. Building a house that a young family can afford to buy and own, that's got a moral dimension because it gives them a stake in the country they live in.
David Cameron, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much.
Ed Miliband, please.
5 years ago, the outgoing Labour Treasury Minister left a message: there's no money left. How can we trust the Labour Party with the UK economy?
There was a global financial crisis. There was a high deficit. That deficit hasn't been cleared. It will be the mission of my government to cut the deficit every year and balance the books. First of all, we'll have fair taxes. Secondly, we'll protect key areas like health and education. But outside those key areas, there will be falls in spending. But the final thing concerns your living standards. We've seen living standards fall over this Parliament. And as a result, lower living standards means lower tax revenues for government, and that's why the deficit hasn't been cleared.
If your party were in power, do you think you could ever bridge the gap between the richest and the poorest?
What's your name?
It's Shirley.
Shirley?
Yeah.
It's a great question, Shirley, and let me answer it directly. Yes.
How can you stand there and say you didn't overspend and end up bankrupting this country? Frankly, just lying.
I'm not going to cut your tax credits. I'm not going to cut child benefit or means test it. I think that would be the wrong thing to do for our country.
Right.
Let me be plain. We're not going to do a deal with the Scottish National Party. We're not going to have a coalition. He was saying at the end, David Cameron, that if you didn't get a majority, it meant this business of going into a darkened room with Nick Clegg. Now, I don't like that sound of that at all, for a whole range of reasons.
Is a vote for yourself a carte blanche to see the welfare bill skyrocket?
No. Under a Labour government, when people come here, they won't get benefits for at least the first 2 years.
Thank you very much, Mr. Miliband.
Thank you.
Would you welcome Nick Clegg?
Your promise on student loans has destroyed your reputation. Why would we ever believe anything else you say?
I got it wrong. I said sorry, musically, no less. Secondly, I hope you can at least give me credit for the many, many other things that I have actually put into practice, whether it's taking lots of people on low pay out of paying any income tax, the biggest expansion of apprenticeships this country's ever seen, the biggest reform of our pension system in a generation, more money into schools to help with the education of disadvantaged children, more childcare, shared parental leave.
So with hindsight, would you go into coalition in 2010 again?
No, yes, absolutely. David Cameron or Ed Miliband are going to walk into number 10 as Prime Minister. I don't think that's much in doubt, and that you have to decide which of those two. The real question is, who's going to go in there alongside them? Is it going to be Alex Salmond? Is it going to be Nigel Farage, or is it going to be me and the Liberal Democrats?
That's all well and good, but you've just told us that in 2010 you had to make a very difficult decision on tuition fees. How do we know that you won't have to make a very difficult decision again around the things that you're promising us tonight?
Yeah, no, that's a totally fair challenge, and that's why I've been much clearer and crisper, I hope, maybe you didn't hear it, about the red lines without which the Liberal Democrats simply won't go into any coalition government. So, for instance, education spending.
Yeah, I just wondered if you've got plans for a new job after next week when you become unemployed and your party becomes an irrelevance.
Charming. No, I don't. Every day, that I have been in government over the last 5 years, I've always tried to take decisions where we spread the burden as fairly as possible.
Free movement within the EU, is it creating a problem in the UK?
I think it did create a problem when free movement became kind of the same as the freedom to claim. I decided as Deputy Prime Minister in this coalition government to break that link so that people couldn't arrive here from elsewhere in the European Union and claim benefits, no questions asked, on the first day they arrived.
Thank you very much indeed. A nice brief answer. Thank you.